Here on the Launch Network. We got an awesome Shark Tank Effect show today. You know, Chris and I have been covering a lot of things that are happening revolving around the Shark Tank production, manufacturing, sales, all things that have been going on. We've been talking to a lot of people that were on Shark Tank, and we're bringing them here to talk to you guys. Let me bring on the man himself, Mr. Christopher Guerrero. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Carmine, what's happening? A lot of good stuff, man. There's a lot of
Crazy.
exciting new business programs we're working on that we're going to be launching this summer. So there's a lot of exciting things that are in development, and it's going to be a fun summer. The first quarter has been incredibly busy with the back-to-back shows. And now there's so much with our new launches on products and the new groups we're developing. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this Shark Tank Effect show. We've been getting a lot of people who want to jump on, want to talk about it. It seems like, Shark Tank is got its own life. It's taking on its own entity. As soon as we mention the Shark Tank Effect show, a lot of people want to jump on and talk. But it just, people that want to be on Shark Tank, people that have been on Shark Tank, it's just it's got its own life. It's taken over, right? I mean, it's just weird to me how big Shark Tank is.
Yeah, it's I just think it's like anybody else. I watched the show before being on it, like Good Morning America, same thing, right? I watched it every week, and I just thought there was so much education, or so much opportunity in it. And look at the exposure you get when your product airs. I mean, I can speak firsthand on that. I literally, like, my evaluation on the show was high. It was intentional. It was part of the strategy. After we aired, it literally blew up beyond that valuation. So it was like, how do you like me now? You got to have a little bit of foresight on what you think it could be. And then you have to believe it. You have to, I always say this before we bring our guest on, Jeff from Scrubbie, you have to believe, you have to think like you're $100 million company. You can't think like you're $100,000 company, because you never get to $1 million. I mean, you want to be $1 million, you got to think like you're 10 million. Yep. You want to be 10 million, you got to think like you're 50 million. You want to be 100 million, you have to think like that, and you have to act like that. You can't try to manage this company, with this narrow-minded thinking that I have no money, so how can I grow the business? You can't think like that. If you do, you won't be successful, and you'll never achieve any of your goals. So you have to really think outside the box.
Yeah, I agree. What's great to me is the people that you're contacted with, the people that you bring on board, they don't think about it. They expect to be $100 million company. They expect to be making money. They expect to have a successful product. And that's what people want to be around. That's what's cool about it.
Well, I'll tell you, I asked Aaron a question when I first met him, right, way back 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe it's even more than that now, probably more like 10 years ago. And from Scrub Daddy, his first, I said, did you ever think you'd be like, you would be this big, right? You would grow to this level. And of course, and he's exceeded that by tenfold now. And his answer was, yeah, I did really believe that. I didn't think it would happen this fast. Right. So again, and if you go to his plant and you hang out with him, you'll understand why, because he does have his team is great. The environment is good. It just breeds good creative thinking. And that's why he's launched so many products and why he's been so successful. So with that said, let's bring on Jeff Dockin from Scrubbie, baby.
Yeah, what's baby.
Hey, what's up? And it's pronounced Dakin as well.
Dakin, baby.
It's a little English Irish. Welch.
You know how many times people call me Guerrero? I'm like, no, it's Guerrera. They say, you're not Spanish? I go, no, always Spanish. My name is Guerrera. That's Italian. So you're already starting off on the wrong track when you call me Guerrero.
I love it. It's all good, man. I get it all the time. But I really appreciate you guys, having me on today, and I'm excited to talk about some experiences that we've had and learning the business of product development and try to share with some people some good information and things that we've learned.
Hey, Chris, let's talk about that.
Hey, real quick. Hey, Jeff, are those golf clubs behind you, man?
Yes, they're Callaway XRs.
You sponsored by Callaway or what?
No, I'm not sponsored by Callaway.
Not yet.
But no, I like to go out and play golf every once in a while. I got some buddies, and it's actually our first investor into the Scrubbie. He built one of the top 50 golf courses in America out here, Flint Hills National Golf Course. and he saw something in myself and Matt, my partner at the time, something in us of our hunger and are willing to try something new, and so he was the first guy that had faith in us and give us the money for our first manufacturing run. And so golf has a special meaning because you can learn a lot about a person on the golf course, and their patience level and how much they focus, or if they throw their clubs, or after a bad shot. That's what I was told as well. It's like you can learn a lot about a guy on a golf course.
Well, it's funny because back in '95, when I went to BMW, a lot of stuff was done on the golf course, a lot of meetings.
Right.
And I wasn't a golfer; I was a baseball player. I used to say, "Yeah, I'm not old enough to golf yet." Like, you have to be old to golf, right? That was only my thing. I was 31 back then. I used to joke with that, right? But yeah, you learn quickly. It's you and the golf ball. That's it.
Right.
And it's not how hard you can swing; it's how smooth you can swing. And I played with some scratch golfers and started playing on some of the best golf courses in the country,
Right.
and quickly picked it up, learned it, man. So like, it was, but in the beginning, it was frustrating. I mean, you're hitting balls and you're going 300 yards, and 200 yards are sliced.
Oh yeah, sometimes I still get bad shots, of course, every once in a while, but sometimes it's the ones that you connect with just right, that lands exactly where you want it, or long putt or something. That's
what makes you think you know what you're doing, and you come back to play.
Yeah. I was like the king of not just manufacturing, but the king of hitting the golf balls out of the woods. Like, how'd you get that shot? Oh, a lot of practice.
Hey, sometimes you can still par, if you get a wood shot, and shortcuts sometimes, I guess, maybe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about your product. Let's talk about the Scrubbie. So how was this thing developed? How did it come about? Like, you're sitting here and you're playing golf, and one day you said, "Hey, I need a new device."
No, actually,
kitchen sinks. Tell me about it. How did it happen?
So I have had a lot of ideas for a long time, since I can remember. As a young kid, my dad and I would talk about inventions and different things. And he's a dentist here in Kansas, practicing for 35 years or so. And
the most hated profession on the planet.
Well, you know what? He's my dentist, and it's not the best,
Yeah.
Feeling that you're getting drilled on and whatever. But anyways, he said you could be a dentist if you want to, but he also has masters in science and other things, and so that just wasn't necessarily the path I wanted to go down. But they always said, do whatever you got to do, whatever you want to do, as long as it's making you happy. And so I moved to Florida when I was 21 and gave dolphin tours out there, and with a buddy that his family owned a jet ski and pontoon rental company. And then, throughout the time, I became a general contractor, and I was hiring crews of guys to facilitate builds, in commercial construction. We were building hotels and senior living homes and apartment complexes. And so I was hiring individual trades to do their individual jobs as the professionals in the trade. And so I learned some skills of trying to, hire the right people and fire the wrong people, and continuous process and replicate the process. And then with these invention ideas I've had, it's just like, and the Shark Tank show came on, and it's basically, I thought that I could potentially work, put the right people in the right place for an invention. And so I started thinking could be something that, I could look into and start. And so then I remember having a conversation at, a bar, 15 years ago. And I was telling this guy about some ideas. He's like, "Man, you should do something with that." I was like, "Man, you know what? I should. I have too many $1 million ideas not to have $1 million." And then so I just started taking notes. And then so, after 100 or so inventions I wrote down, I picked one of them that we moved forward with, and it was a receiver hitch that goes on your toe of your truck, and it tells your tongue weight and your toe weight of the trailer being pulled. And so, we thought this was a good idea for, materials or scrap metal, or, the algorithms that our software engineers came up with that could run trains and airplanes and just tell the loads that being pulled. And then so we contacted a mechanical engineering company, which was a family friend, and they said, we'd love to work with you on this. You know, we call it the AccuTow or hitch ball weight meter. We'd love to work with you on this. We'll come up with some designs. And then we created some rudimentary testing machines and quickly realized that this is going to cost millions of dollars for more testing and approvals from our, Kansas Department of Transportation. And they said, this is going to be millions, if not, tens of millions before we even get a product just for R&D. But, this is something that they're like, do you have any other ideas? And, Matt and I at the time, here's my partner on the AccuTow, we moved forward with a patent search on the Scrubbie, and we had a provisional patent on the Scrubbie at the time of the meeting with them about the AccuTow. And it's like, well, actually, we do have another product, but we weren't necessarily thinking we're going to present it to them because they're a mechanical engineering company that builds machines and robots. But they're, they had our engineer was Doc Brown, I called him. He looked like Back to the Future. Mad scientist, but he was our engineer that created our AccuTow. And then so we said, well, let's tell them about the Scrubbie, and we did. Like, this is actually a good idea. We had a concept, and then so they took it and then they put it in their SolidWorks 3D CAD program and created some 3D renderings in which we created some 3D printed prototypes. And this is actually the first prototype we ever created, a 3D print. And then this was the second one. We basically connected a tube to it. And so this would fit onto your spray guns. And then there was a market for the pull down as well. And we knew that we had to address that market. And so we created other prototypes. I'll show you one of our first prototypes of the pull down. It was basically
wow, what a difference!
Paint, but it has this foam insert into it, and these threads basically just slides over. And then it turned into what we now call. Well, this is the older version. By the time this airs, we'll have a new one out that we're really excited about. But this is what the Scrubbie came out to be. It's a multi-piece product that comes apart like this, and it has these internal ridges in it that catch different dimensions of your pull down sprayers. And then also, if you take it and you flip it around, it has these helical threads that connect to the garden hose. And so we created the universal scrubbing attachment. And then so we also, and then the sponge comes off pretty simply, a couple twists, and we have new attachments that you can screw onto this as well, as like a Brillo pad or just different sponge attachments that more to come in the future. But throughout the process, we have learned what the customer wants, and we have learned different sizes sink dimensions and sink faucets. When we have emails that people say, hey, it doesn't fit, we request a picture of their faucet sprayer. And so we can identify different faucets on the market that Lowe's and Home Depot don't have, because we basically went there and just put them on all of them. And so with that, we have created a new model, and I'm probably not going to show it because it's kind of top secret right now, right? But it does connect to every 100% of every model that we have found. And so we're still going to say it fits on most, but from what we found, it fits on every single one.
So talk about, so how does it work? So let's talk about like the benefits and where you'd use it. Is it inside? Right. You can use it outside.
So you can use it outside on your garden hose to clean, your windows or your patio furniture or your siding, or sometimes if you got mud on your siding, from your dogs or something, you take the Scrubbie and clean it. We've had people clean their cars and car wheels and tractors and inside of coolers and old freezers, and And you could the options are basically endless. We're finding new things to clean all the time. When I was cleaning my horse trough, live on a ranch, I was cleaning my horse trough with it, and there's anything that you think they need to put pressure with water coming out, that's where it's the simplicity of it is physics, right? It's high pressure water with a direct contact friction that decreases the amount of water that you spend. So it's an efficient solution to saving water and time to get clean your outside needs. And then for the inside,
But we talked about even cars, right? At some point, we want to
yes,
have the application.
we have
that you can
different
use it on your car.
Yeah, for these different attachments, because you wouldn't want to use the typical sponge for your car. You can use them on your car wheels that we recommend, or headlights or whatever. But on your paint, of course, this will scratch it. So we have options to put microfiber like pads on there, and directly for cars. And we also have products, attachments. The attachment possibilities are endless to the Scrubbie. And so as of right now, it fits, over your spray gun like this. The water directly shoots out. There's zero back pressure. It's a straight shot all the way through. And then, with our new one, it's a little bit taller, and we're going with right now some feedback is that they wouldn't put on our sink. It's not pretty enough, or it looks industrial. So we have addressed those issues, and the new models are going to be a lot prettier
and sexy.
And I think they're going to look better. They're going to be more functional, and we're excited about it.
How about in the kitchen? What typically? I mean, I see your videos, so they pretty much explain it. People go to your website, but talk about it's for dishes, pans, right?
Yes. So if you take it and you flip it around, it goes in just like this, right? And then you connect it to your sink sprayer. It stays, it connects, and then you can pull down your sink sprayer and put it directly with the water shooting out directly on the plate. It cuts down. So I came up with this idea when my wife was cooking dinner one night, and I was cleaning the dishes, and I had basically this exact spray gun spraying on the dishes, and I can't remember exactly what it had. Some baked on cheese was on there, and I was just scraping the plate trying to get that extra bit off while I was spraying. And I said, I did that all the time, or even tried to, you're always kind of scraping your plate with a fork or something, just trying to get that last bit off because the water's just not doing it. And so I thought, if we just put a sponge on the end of this, that could work, because a sponge is porous, and water could go through, without a lot of back pressure. And in my construction field, I did a lot of tile work, right? And if you could put a hose directly on a sponge without a hole in it, and there'd be no back pressure, water just start leaking through. And so the original concept was I got a loofah-like sponge and some electrical tape, and I put a little sponge on the end of this, and I electrical taped it, shot water through it, no problem, and it worked perfectly. And so that was the first prototype. And then from there, I knew that we had something. And then, that was in the back pocket, because we wanted to move forward with the AccuTow and hitch ball meter, because we thought that was, we were seeing, like you were saying earlier to Carmine, it's, you got to vision yourself as a billion-dollar company. How are you going to get to a billion? Well, how are you going to get to the top of the mountain? There's going to be different steps, right in front of each other. I've been through the jungles of Kauai and been all over the world and been on hikes and things. It's like, where's the next step, right? It's like, do we go over here, go there? But the end goal is always up there. And for example, in Kauai, my wife had a pin that was dropped at this hidden waterfalls in the mountains of Kauai, and there's no trails there. It's all random jungles, and it was 6 miles.
I won't be visiting there anytime soon.
6 miles in the jungle. 6 miles in the jungle. So the total trek was 12 miles. But we went 6 miles through the jungle.
Snakes in the trees.
Up the river. Well, luckily there's no predators or snakes in Kauai, but there's ants and stuff. But anyways, we were cruising through the jungle, up the rivers, and had to climb some trees to get up to over these huge cliffs, and we made it, and it was beautiful and wonderful. And that's kind of how I've envisioned life. It's about how do we get there. Then you got to take steps on how to get there. Like in construction, I was taking on these huge projects of 80 room rebuilds after a fire or something, and you could come out of one room and say, what, be overwhelmed. It's like, how are we ever going to finish this? I learned at a young age when I did this process of there is no end to it. This is just each, you can accomplish small goals, and then all the small goals, will finish the project. And
Yeah,
so,
and you need to take the wins, accordingly.
right.
So, okay, so you get a product now, you think you have something, and somebody says, hey, let's go on Shark Tank, right?
Well, kind of. So we went to a trade show once we had the product, and we started moving forward with it. We got some units. We went to a trade show, a local trade show here in Kansas, the Wichita Women's Fair, and we bought 300 units with us, and it was a 3-day deal. And everybody, most of the people at the trade show that came by said, you guys should be on Shark Tank. And so, we had kind of had the idea, but they were buying products, and we sold out all 300 units. And then so we had, we made a couple $1,000, and we're thinking, let's put this $2,000 or $3,000 into Facebook ads, or trying to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. So we try to reach out and try to find different people, and we spent that couple $1,000 pretty quick. Like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think this guy knows what he's doing. We're not getting the results. One company that we paid $1,000 to, for some content for online, it came back blurry and out of focus. And like, well, can you guys create some content and send it to us, and we'll just, I don't even know what they're trying to do, but we weren't super impressed, and so we didn't move forward a lot with it, online. But we did go to the next trade show we had the same corner, same booth kind of set up, and people were, we were invited back to come to the second one by the owners of the trade show for the next year. And so we made it, and everybody loved us again. We brought 400 units, and we sold out, and everyone there was saying that you guys should be on Shark Tank, as well. And then the next day after that, I get a call from Matt, my partner at the time, and he said, we just got a call from Shark Tank, and you want to be on? I said, yes. I said, what else did they say? He's like, that was it. It's like, no, I want to know verbatim. It's like, I want to know all the details. It's like, they didn't say, hey, you guys want to be on Shark Tank? Cool. Get back to me. Bye. It's like, I want to, I'm the type of detail guy. I want to know, every word of what was said so I can analyze, basically. So that was pretty exciting. And then, what wasn't exciting was that was in February of 2020. And then that's when the pandemic hit. And so all the trade shows moving forward were, stopped. Everything was shut down. So we took it kind of as an opportunity to focus on our IP for the Scrubbie before Shark Tank. We had hundreds of pages of contracts and background checks, and making sure our trademarks were solid, making sure our patents were solid, and everything had to be, they had to do their due diligence. And so we took that time to contact our attorneys, make sure everything was set up, and so we passed all their all the things that they had for us to do. And then we got asked to, and that was during the COVID. Chris can attest to this, but we had to be under quarantine for a while, and I'm not sure how much detail I can get into that, but that was pretty crazy.
10 days.
10 days in quarantine. And but you know what? We ordered some Monopoly game off of Amazon and a deck of cards, and so we kept ourselves entertained. And then we went out into the tank. That was the whole thing. That's you could say it was surreal, but we've done a lot of awesome things in our life, right? And then being on Shark Tank was just felt like we're supposed to be there. This is what we've been working for, and let's just kill it. So I wasn't necessarily as nervous as some people might be, because I just felt like that was the next step to get to the top of the mountain. And then we went in there. We were in there for about an hour, I'd say. It felt like 8 minutes, of which they aired or so. But they wanted to. It's a TV show, so they made it for drama and how they edit it down. And I walked out of there feeling confident with what I said, and however they're going to edit it, they did. They they made it the way that they thought people would like. And there's been we were trending on Reddit for a while, and we have millions of views on our YouTubes and hundreds of thousands of comments of what people thought about our my idea, which is pretty cool. No matter what, I was on Shark Tank for an idea that I had, standing at the kitchen sink with my wife, after dinner. No matter what, anybody, no one can take that from you or take it from me. But
No, and it's not an easy process, man. That whole process is extremely difficult. We talk about this a lot on our show. I mean, it's an extremely difficult process. And looking like, the producers want to do due diligence on you before you even step on that stage, so that you're going through all that. Then afterwards, if you get a deal, you're going through the same due diligence again with an investor, right? With a shark. So it's an enormous amount of work. It's not like you send an email in and then 2 weeks you're on the show. You got
Right.
all of the.
Yeah, it was about 6 months. We got notified in February. We were there in August, and we made a road trip. Took a trailer down with our set, and it was an awesome experience. They, no matter what, there wasn't necessarily a super positive light that was shined. But I can understand it's TV and whatever, but most everyone that the controversy that was on there, it's all been taken care of, and we have love for everybody, and it is what it is. So I think that going into something like this, people just have to be able to take risks, and if you believe in a product, and 90+% of the feedback is positive. And that's how it was on the comments after our show too. It's at least 90% of them, were positive.
Hey.
And there's always going to be haters and ainers, is what I say sometimes.
So he says, if you don't have haters, you ain't doing anything.
Yeah.
No doubt. Hey,
So,
hey, Jeff, real quick. Did you guys have a plan going in? Was there a shark that you wanted to try to partner with? Did you try to focus on that?
Well, yes. We actually were planning on. I mean, we would have taken anybody, right? And we were in there to make a deal. We knew that our sales were bad. We only went to 2 trade shows and then got asked to be on Shark Tank without, I don't have experience with e-com or, digital marketing, and neither did my other partners involved. They were guys that had good jobs and had money, and single men, that had money saved up that are looking for an investment. And that's what both of my partners at the time, those were those guys, and they didn't have a lot of experience. They're like, I'll help you. And then Shark Tank said, we want people, we want a team of people. So we split the script. I said, some of the important things, I guess, and then Matt kind of directed it and showmanship and stuff, because he's the one who wrote the script. And it's just, how it came out was, I mean, like I said, we were happy with everything that happened. But after the show is when
I was going to say, like, talk about that a little bit. Like,
yeah,
after the show
was
the network.
Yeah, so we weren't able to tell anybody, of course, from August to April. And then so we weren't able to tell anybody we're going on the show, or we did the show, or say anything about it. And makes sense. But then we got an email and said, hey guys, you guys are going to air, I think it was April 24th at 7 p.m. And
what season were you on?
season 12.
So you're on my
episode-
season. That's right. Same season, right? So you're in April. We are in May. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, season 12, episode 22, pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got, then we went down there and, I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, and really, when you think about like the network that came out of this, right? Like you and I didn't
Yeah.
know each other, but I just think about like I always felt like I had a really strong network before I went in, but I think coming out, I made more friends than I could have even imagined, more
Right.
than just like a network. Now it's become
As you can probably imagine,
Yeah.
after the show, we were bombarded with emails and phone calls and
yeah,
interested people. And, we saw ourselves, we had a live feed of our website going at the time. We were airing and Matt recorded it, and it was pretty cool just to see, because we had a map of the US and then just light up all over. We had 70,000 views in one night and just popping up, and then you could tell the time zone difference because they aired East Coast first and then they aired West Coast. And then so you could just see it like all light up on half the country and then light up a couple hours later on half the country. It was pretty cool. But
we had a
after
live feed of our email orders. Carmine was there for our party, our airing. It was like it was just like a ticker tape.
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
you hope
that's
this is
awesome.
when you hope it doesn't crash.
Yeah. So after that, we had, phone calls and emails and people interested. And then so we took it all in stride, right? We took notes of how each of them wanted. We weren't desperate to make a deal. We knew that we had a good product that people were interested in. So we didn't, we were offered buyouts, we were offered licensing deals. And we turned everybody down because we're like, if this guy's offering us this, I mean, we could make this, and why take 5%? He's telling us these crazy numbers, to get us closer to the top of the mountain than it would be to sell a piece of, something that is a good idea, got national exposure, and we should hold on to it and maximize our capital gains. It's until it gets to a point of, it makes sense to let her go, I guess, because I do have other ideas and other patents and other projects that we're working on currently. And, if an offer came up, that was right for sure. But at the same time, we know that it's a good product. We have, great manufacturers now and good partners and great partners, and everyone that's involved could, I think, help us get to the next level for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key benefits, I think, after, at least what I found. Like there's a broad range of people that you meet, right? And that are in this network, but really become friends with a lot of them. And I think we can share so much information amongst the group. Because like you said, I mean, I'm not a TikToker, right? Like someone like Laren is. I'm not planning on going on TikTok and trying to blow it up, but other people that I know are. And this is where you can benefit and learn from, and what you're good at, you should focus on what you're good at. If you're good at selling, you should be selling, not shipping, right?
Right.
If you're good at manufacturing, you should be manufacturing and setting up the production control plans, and not be on the TikTok channel. So there's a lot of different variations, at least I found, to really understand what you're good at, what you're not good at.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying the example earlier of, hiring an electrician and a plumber, but not hiring an electrician to do plumber stuff, or hiring a framer, to do tile. It's just, you got to put the right people in the right place to get the job that you want. And I think that if you structure your team like that, everyone has their place on the bus. Good to great, Jim Collins. It's there's room for some people, not for everybody, but everyone. Just kind of like the Royals. The baseball team. They gotta have a good pitcher, good baseball. Good catcher, good first base, third base. They have to be, if they can be the best at their job, we can win.
So I really thought you were going to use the Chiefs there as an example.
I was going to use Chiefs. You got to use a quarterback. I was going to say the Yankees, but I'm not.
They haven't won anything in a while. That's the problem. The Yankees, they're good enough, always good enough. They haven't done anything lately.
But they say consistently, like throughout the years, Yankees have had one of the best ball teams. But it's it's about the right people in the right place. And I think if
Absolutely.
I think I'm, wise enough to know that I don't know everything, but I have, good enough communication skills to try to get the right people.
And that's to me, that's one of the most important attributes as an entrepreneur, knowing what you're good at, what you're not good at. I see too many people think they know everything there is, and they don't. They just don't, and they end up hurting themselves. They're
Right.
spending money where they shouldn't be spending money, or they're shipping stuff overpriced and flying stuff in, or there's this whole conglomerate of, like, you can't be the best at everything. I'm sorry. I don't care who you think you are. If your ego's that big, you need to set it aside, because you're not going to succeed.
Right.
Because I mean, like, look at people go on Good Morning America, right? That's what these people do for a living.
Right.
Right. That's part of what they do every day. It's like, I don't expect someone to be a master Lean Six Sigma guy, right? Or person, and to know all the in and outs of that. But there has to be a marriage of partnerships where maybe your weakness is somebody else's strength.
Right.
And I've always built teams like that in any big company I've gone to, and even in my own company. So I think that, those are critical. And then I think it's important to build relationships. Like, you can be able to call somebody when you need something, right? To ask a question and get a response. I mean, I think it's what makes this community work so well and so good. And you see what we're doing at the shows now, right? At the national shows, we're giving platforms for entrepreneurs and inventors to pitch to people who've gone through all of this. It's not like somebody who's coaching somebody who has never done it. Like, these are successful entrepreneurs. They've been through it. They understand how it's done and can give real strong feedback.
Right.
And you can see what it's attracting now. It's attracting a lot of momentum, a lot of big names who want to be on the stage with us. And so it's been great. Yeah, I would say absolutely been great. Jeff, where can I know the product is the relaunch is coming back out in a couple of weeks. And this won't air for a couple of weeks, so it'll be good timing. Where can they find it? Where can they find all your products?
www.thescrubbie.com. We're on
Instagram. Scrubbie.
The Scrubbie. That's what we said on the show. Get a little entertainment. And we're on Facebook and Instagram, and we just started a TikTok not so long ago. Like you're saying, I'm not a TikTok guy,
No.
And I got a ranch and I deal with horses and pigs and chickens and stuff. It's like, but I actually brought them into some TikToks too. So I mean, sometimes you got to intertwine, but I'm not sure if it's right.
Greg Harper used to interview his chickens.
That's a good idea.
Okay, what's going on here? What's happening in this video? All right, cool. I think, like the take from this is to understand it's not that easy to get on Shark Tank. It's a lot of work. You got to have a good idea. You have to have it vetted out. You have to be willing to take a risk. And then you got to have your numbers in line and be ready to go. I mean, you're not going to just jump from 0 to 100 million. You're going to hit roadblocks and you're going to fall, and you got to get back up, but you got to keep pursuing it and be passionate enough that through the darkest times of launching products you still have the vision of what the end result is going to be.
Right. I say that there's crossroads and hurdles. You got to make the right turn and you got to get over the hurdles. If there's roadblock, there's ways to break through that as well. If you really want it, and if it's vetted right and it passes all the green and it gets green lights, through everything, and there's only one roadblock, there's surely ways around it. So I'd say don't give up, because it's the grass isn't greener. It's like you either work hard for somebody or work hard for yourself, or harder for yourself. Now, I'd rather work 80 hours a week than 40 hours a week. I think you've been.
I've spent 30 something years in corporate America, and probably, 10, 12 years now, maybe, on my own business. And I always talked about winding down a little bit. It's just not going to happen. I'm busier now than I've ever been. Brandy, keep working at 11 o'clock at night. As long as me and Carmine talk.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, business is life. I can handle a phone call at 4 a.m. and handle a phone call at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, 10 midnight, 24 hours a day. Carmine knows, dealing with overseas, and that's just, I love that kind of stuff. I wake up early and go to the gym almost every day, and I have a great family that loves me, and so you can be successful. It's just your definition, right? Your perception of success, but you can always grow and get better and stronger.
Carmen, a good example of entrepreneurship was yesterday, right? So I told Brandy, I take an hour, I'll go take her to look at some flowers she wanted to plant in the back. I'm there. And then we get a note from Super Zoo, their management team. And they gave us some options to talk. I said, Carmen, are you ready now? Let's do it right now. So, I mean, because the time that, it's August is a show. So we want to get it moving. So I'm like, okay, I can't talk. It's dust everywhere. It's dry. I go back in my car. And woman's like, I can hear her saying to Brandy, what, your husband doesn't like flowers? Doesn't like shopping for like plants? I'm like, no, I'm working. Somebody has to pay for this stuff. So we took this call and we knocked it out literally on the phone, like instantly. And that's just how I like to work. I know Carmen likes to work the same way.
Get it done. If you're thinking about it, do it. You got to have.
And I think people respect that. So when I don't get quick answers, it's like I like to move. I've always been that way. I mean, I was still the youngest executive to run a BMW plant, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, not just for you, but for the people that report to you and that that you become in the pit with, right? It's that whole team. It's not like talking anymore. Now it's actions. It's really, and that's where the actions show. The best advice I can give anybody is you can talk all day until you show what you're going to be made of, what you're going to do. Right. That's really the end result, is showing that you really do want to be $100 million company and you're putting in all the time and the efforts to make it happen. Right. And you're not getting, sidetracked. Because I hear a lot of people say they want to do it, but but I have to work, and I have 3 kids, and I mean, yeah, that's fine. Everybody has that. Like, tell us something we don't know. If you want to do it and you believe in it and you're passionate about it, you'll find a way to do it. End of story.
Period.
All right, great. Come on, another good show. I mean, awesome. A lot of information, right? And we try to break it down into small chunks, but just another great entrepreneurial story on how to launch a product and get it on Shark Tank.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great show. Oh, no problem, Jeff. Thank you for coming on, man. It's this is the kind of things that, and you guys know it all the time, and I'm sure, both Chris and you, Jeff, get it. Almost everyone you talk to, everyone wants to be on Shark Tank. So giving this type of information is so important, not only the preparation before, what to do maybe during, but what could happen afterwards. It's just, it is fun. It, depends on how you take life and their life's challenges, but it's that after, right? Jeff, real quick, I know we're going to hang up. It's that after. I think the Shark Tank thing, if you do end up getting on Shark Tank or whatever it is going to give you that platform, that soapbox. It's kind of, hey, what are you going to do with it after, right?
It will jumpstart anything that you have on the plate.
Good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad. Yeah. So I'd say stay focused. And, if you do it right, there's a lot of mentors, a lot of books, all YouTube. Just, ask a question and then you'll find a bunch of videos. There's a lot of smart people out there that have been on the stage with, you and Chris, and at the, United Vendors Association stages that we were at. There's a lot of good information and a lot of people are willing to help. And I'm willing to help too, anybody. And so if anyone wants to contact me personally, I'm Jeff Dakin at LinkedIn. And so, I'm here to help other inventors maybe not make the same mistakes as I did, and like Chris is saying, where this, if it's set up right, then good things will happen.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. And if you're looking for Jeff, you might find him at a Home Depot or a Lowe's testing his product on every faucet that could possibly be made, which by the way is a good idea, right? And when you told me you were doing that, I was like, what better place to try it? Right.
Hopefully, we'll make some deal. We're trying to get into retail once we get this new product. So hopefully you'll be seeing us there regardless.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, thank you so much. Not only for Chris coming on, Jeff, thank you so much for telling the story. For all you listeners out there, we appreciate you listening in. We love this stuff. We will be having some great other guests on. Make sure you keep turning in. Make sure you subscribe to the Shark Tank Effect. And we will catch you next time. You all take care.